Hello, everybody. Today, I want to educate you on the top 5 sales negotiation mistakes that most people make when they're trying to sell something. My name is Derek A. Smith, also known as Dr. Negotiator. First, let's look at negotiating. Negotiating is the art of reaching an agreement by resolving differences through creativity. The main thing we're trying to do in negotiations is to basically have a win-win situation and get the contract signed. Now picture this. You're in the final stages of a negotiation. It's a big sale for you. If you land this, you're going to exceed your goals by 25%. It could be at your job. It could be in the personal goals that you set for yourself for the year. It could be in the real estate that you plan to sell for the year. Whatever it may be, you're going to exceed your goals. There's no doubt about it. You really want to close this deal. But then comes the bad news. To do this deal, the client wants a major concession that will erode the profitability of the transaction and also set a bad precedent for deals in the future. You thought you would handle all the objections that the person made earlier, and you thought you would put them aside, but now you see that you're wrong. What can you do now? In this training, I'm going to give you 5 common negotiation mistakes salespeople make and what you can do about them. The first one is selling a product instead of meeting needs. Everybody teaches you that when you're learning sales techniques, when you're doing anything in sales, it's all about fulfilling needs. If you fulfill needs, the profit will follow. This is one of the most common mistakes I've seen people make. Every industry has a set of products and services that you need to sell. But what too many people overlook is that these products and services are created to address a need or a want. When you sell an item, you don't sell that item. You sell the benefits of that item. You're fulfilling someone's needs. If you want to sell the product, make sure you know what need it fills. Once you know what need it fills, then you can tailor your sales content or your pitch or your negotiation strategy in order to meet that need. You may have the most intriguing product on the planet, but if it doesn't meet the prospect's needs, then good luck. You're not going to be able to sell it to them no matter what. You need to first focus on their needs and build a bridge from there. That bridge will lead to success in negotiations. And if you discover that you can't fill that need, then it's time to move on, because there's no amount of convincing you can do that's going to convince that person to buy at this time. You may have to come back, rethink your goals, rethink your strategy, and try it again later. Trying to force a mismatch is a sure way to waste everybody's time, including your own. And as you all know, time is money. Number 2, acting on untested assumptions about buying behavior. Assumptions are a key topic of conversation between you and your clients. Everyone makes assumptions all the time about the reasons behind other people's behavior. Making an assumption isn't the problem. Not testing the assumption is. You need to ask questions. You cannot just assume that somebody can't pay for something. You can't assume that someone's going to make certain concessions. You can't assume that someone's going to even be interested in your product. You have to test it, and you have to do that by asking questions. Your sales strategy is guided by what you believe motivates your prospect. If you've misguided the prospect's drivers, their needs, their wants, because you didn't test your belief about what they did or did not respond to when you said something to them, or something you did or did not do in the sales process, the odds are high that you won't make the sale. When I was a car salesman working for Oarsman Chevrolet in Maryland, we learned a 12-step process in order to sell cars. We could not skip to any of those steps in that process. You had to start at 1, and then you had to go through 12, because each step was necessary to get the person to the point where they're ready to buy. The solution is simple, but not necessarily easy. Be a little more curious, a lot more humble, and ask instead of assuming what you think the customer needs, wants, and what you would like for them to have. You need to discover their why. That why is the most important thing for the sale. Once you discover that why, you can tailor your strategy to meet that need. Number 3 is too few questions and not enough listening. We all want to talk too darn much when it comes to negotiating and just about anything else in life. We need to learn how to shut up sometime. When I was a federal agent, one of the first things they taught me was to ask a question and be quiet. You need to be quiet so that you can get the answer to your question. You don't need to be thinking about what your answer is going to be next. I'm sorry, what your next question is going to be. You need to listen, because listening will give you the ammunition you need to formulate that next question. So this mistake feeds directly from the previous one, but there's more to this problem than just untested assumptions that we talked about before. Many people are extroverts and love to talk. You need to let them talk so you can find out what you need to know. But when you're talking, you're not learning and you're not listening. It's hard to sell if you don't know why someone's buying something, so you have to ask them. Ask short, open-ended questions like, can you say more about that? What's the concern that you have? Can you help me understand more about your particular issue? Then please be quiet and listen. Get curious. Ask clarifying questions. You need to focus on understanding and summarizing what you think they said. Repeat it back to them. Make sure you understand. The worst thing you can do in a sales process or negotiation process is to get it wrong. Make sure you have a clear understanding. By the time you're done, you'll know so much about them and about what their needs and wants are. You have enough information for 5 years worth of business, and you can keep going back to that person, reselling to them. Even with cars. I had people that I sold cars to. They were bringing cousins, aunts, friends, spouses, and then they were repeat customers. When they need another vehicle, guess who they came to see? The person that understood them the most. Number 4, addressing the prospect's position instead of their underlying interests. This mistake is at the core of almost any negotiation or sales error. First, some definitions. A position is what someone says they want. I want a car. I want to get certain concessions in a negotiation. This is their stated request or their stated demand. An interest is the underlying motivator or reason behind a stated request or demand. So if a person tells you, I need to sell my house, yes, they need to sell the house, but you need to get to why they need to sell the house. Is it an estate sale? Is it a divorce? Did they inherit the house from someone? That's going to help you with your particular negotiation strategy. For example, a prospect may ask for a 15% discount on something. That's their position. As the salesperson, we naturally assume that they're asking because they think our product or service is too expensive. So we think, they want to pay. They think it's too expensive. They don't want to pay that much, so we need to cut the price. Guess what? You might not need to cut the price. If we ask, we might discover that they feel like it's a fair price already. The reason they ask for the discount is because they have a limited budget, but they really want to buy our product. But instead they need to buy it later because they don't have enough. They don't have enough money right now, or whatever the case may be. They want to get that house now that we're selling, or that product that we're selling right now before it's gone. But you know what? Once you identify the real reason for their request, you can come up with a lot of different solutions, and hopefully you guys can still come to that win-win solution. One option from my example that you could do with that house sale is to sell it, whatever the product is, to sell it all to them now at the full price, but spread out the payments. Say it's a lease option deal and you want to get your lease option fee, and then you spread out the payments over a number of years for them to buy the house. Or even if it's a house deal right now, get some money up front. Let me tell you about a deal that my mentor did at my house last week. He had someone come in and they had a tenant in a particular house. They wanted to be able to get the house and close the deal, but he told them, no, we can't do that. How about we do this? I give you $10,000 up front, and then I give you the rest of the money once the people are at the house. My mentor could not take a chance for it to become his problem when these people get their money in hand at full price. They're gone, and he has to deal with a disgruntled tenant. So they were able to kind of work out this deal where, okay, I'll give you $10,000 if you want the rest of your money. You get these people out in 10 days. And it worked out for them. Well, hopefully it'll work out for them because it's still in the works. But we see marketers do this all the time. Had you not gotten below the position in my example, your response might have been to start by offering a 5% discount and hope to meet them halfway at 10%. Remember, they were asking for a 15% discount in my example, and now you're trying to bargain on it. This would have cost you and still not have addressed their real need. Remember, their real need wasn't about the money. They thought it was a fair price. It was about them not having all they needed to do it right now. This mistake cost you lots of dollars and countless hours of wasted time and energy because you're not going to get that sale until you understand and address their need. Now, number 5 common mistake is negotiating against yourself with unilateral concessions. What do I need? What do I mean by this? Many clients seem to forget a simple premise. Business and life is a two-way street. In sustainable relationships, you have to have reciprocity. It has to exist. Reciprocity means that I do for you, you do for me. To get, you have to give. Often because of our eagerness to land a deal, we offer incentives and concessions without people even asking for them. Then if the prospect is still biting, we keep offering more in the hope that at some point we go far enough to secure the sale. That is the wrong way to negotiate. I repeat, the wrong way to negotiate. We don't want to give any concessions if we don't have to. You need to get that person, your opponent, to make concessions. And then you concede only if you have to, and concede on things that really doesn't matter. That's why you want to ask for more than you really want, so you can be able to have some things to give back to them as concessions. And in the end, you have what it is that you really wanted in the first place. And then guess what? They're happy, you're happy, and you both have a win-win solution. If I'm a buyer and you're selling to me like this, why would I ever stop you? I'm going to let you keep giving concessions. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying never to make a concession, but there's a time and there's a place, and you should be getting something for every concession you make. Don't give without getting. It's about reciprocity, people. If you make a concession, ask for something in exchange. For example, ask for a tentative commitment. In sales lingo, a trial close. So you're going to get a commitment from that person. If I do this for you, are you going to sign a contract? If I'm able to make this concession, would that be sufficient to close the deal? If I can give you this concession, will you sign a 2-year contract instead of a 1 year? I went to a hotel one time, and Roger Dawson had the same experience, and I learned it from him, so it was no surprise. But I went to a hotel one time, and they didn't have the room that I asked for. Now, I showed up with 2 other guys. They got their rooms. I had actually made my reservation before them and didn't have a room for me. We talked about it, and then finally, they wanted to offer me a different room. The room was nice, is what I wanted, but I said exactly what Roger Dawson said to say in his training. Okay, if I concede and take this room, what can you do for me? And just like he said in his example, they knock money off the price. And also, I'm a frequent traveler because of my job. They gave me vouchers and things like that for when I come back to the hotel the next time. And I go there quite often. So it works, people. At the end of the day, if your prospect isn't interested in making it a win-win, maybe you shouldn't be doing business with them at all. It's not the right deal for you. Do not take a deal just because you have to take the deal. You need to be able to take the right deals and the deals that's going to make you money and be win-win. If you want to learn more about negotiations, you can come over and check me out at massiveactionsuccesscoaching.com. You can also check out the rest of my negotiating videos. I keep loading videos on a regular basis at my YouTube channel that you see on the screen. And also, you can go over and join my Negotiations Now Facebook page at the address that you see on the screen. So I'm going to leave that up for a few seconds so that you can write it down and come join us. And thank you all once again. My name is Derek A. Smith, aka Dr. Negotiator, and I want to take my experience and give it to you so you can be successful at all your negotiating efforts. So I will see you on the next video, and thank you very much.